I could tell you a whimsical tale that's probably very inaccurate.
The Sensible Sociopath.
2, 3, 1, go.
Roma, the podcast is here!
It really never gets old.
Sorry about those jokes I said earlier about babies with both sets of genitals.
What does that even mean?
You know, I'm willing to risk my life for this podcast, Roma.
Ugh, that sounds insane.
And I'm also willing to risk your life for this podcast.
There's a difference between, like, uncomfortable and creepy.
Anyways, that's why I think pedophilia is just a sexuality like any other.
It was kind of traumatizing.
White people are bad and do bad things.
Periods are not just for women.
Take off their underwear and relax with their uncle.
How fast can I eat your ass?
I mean, you know, you look at me and you go, this is an international man.
My whole life is a sham.
And you can't get the white Oreos, that's racist.
I think I counted like 25 racially charged jokes.
White privilege allows me to turn off someone's headlights.
I was just being agreeable.
Roma, when was the last time you were agreeable?
It's been days.
Also, if you try to poop really hard, sometimes you'll come.
You would think that we'd have our shit together.
It's the enema for your face.
Yeah, I was gonna say cleaning's for women.
I'm not a lady, Roma.
Oh, this is so gay.
Let's try to be inclusive, Roma.
What does that even mean?
Real mature, Roma. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 80 of the Sensible Sociopath podcast.
What?
We are here in the middle of Corona, the lowdown, the zero, the strike zone.
Dude, the strike zone on Rona, like everything that goes, like if it leaves the pitcher's hand, the guy up's like, Strook!
Yeah, if it goes backwards, they're like, yeah, it was
That wasn't even
clean
over the plate.
strike. Yep, right in the strike zone. Yeah, so welcome to the show, everybody. Today we have John, one of our favorite guests here.
Hi, John.
Yeah, thanks for having me back, man. I'm excited.
John just got out of Corona lockdown. So did Roma.
Yep.
And
I'm back, baby.
I am untouchable, apparently. Yep. I told you I was immune to all diseases. This was very early on.
Oh, man. So speaking of so early on at the very beginning of the Rona.
Yes.
As we call it here.
Now explain to people what Corona is.
It's this beer.
Okay.
Right? And if you were to put it on the evolution of beer,
Mm-hmm.
it's like not the tadpole, but that's like Miller Lite, and but it's like the one.
It still
it's
has a
the tadpole with
unibrow.
legs. Yeah, it has a unibrow and it hasn't evolved. That's what that's what Corona is. And then that's it basically. That's my understanding of it so far.
Okay, and this has been taking over the globe.
Okay. This is my understanding.
There's little buckets around all over the place. People are tripping over them.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of Coronas in the buckets, usually about 8 to 10, depending on how much ice is in it.
Yeah, and if you take one of those into a nursing home,
Party.
yeah,
Party time.
Oh, okay, it's good.
It's so wasted. God, man, we just totally died last night, didn't we?
That's how they tricked Cuomo into getting an Emmy.
Oh my gosh.
We should do some shout outs.
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay.
Shout out time.
We've got Dan, we've got Steve S., we've got Kat, we've got Sarah, we've got Stories from the Penitentiary. Hi. Margot's here.
Welcome everybody. Hope you're all well and had a great Thanksgiving. We were talking about Thanksgiving earlier. You know what we were thankful for.
Mm-hmm.
Roma said structure fires. I don't know what that's about because people could get hurt in that situation. I don't know. But you could smoke meats.
That's true.
Yeah.
Smoke meats.
We did have smoked turkey this year.
That is true.
It was the first.
Okay, that was delicious.
It was good.
It was good.
It was a lot like a ham,
Yes.
which I'm not a ham man, as some of you might think.
I just picture you in like the aisle of a grocery store, be like, oh,
Yeah.
it's a total ham man here. There's so many to choose from.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Skibidi beep 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 bo. I'm the ham man.
So,
I've just got hams on my fists.
sir, put that down.
Those are frozen. How'd you get your hands in there? I brought these
I
from
jammed
home.
them in there.
Yeah.
I've got experience, I'm just saying.
Yeah. It's like punching holes. Yeah.
I punch holes in stuff and in people.
I'm like, it's like on No Holds Barred. Remember when he was punching the cinder blocks on the chains? Just blowing them to pieces? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really great Hulk Hogan movie.
Dude, yeah. So I got out of the Rona jail, right?
Okay.
And so I didn't get it
In time for Thanksgiving?
in time for the Thanksgiving.
Very nice.
And so my wife had it. She had the sniffles for a day, and she lost her sense of smell for 2.
Okay.
and then that was it.
Now, is your wife part of the global elite?
No.
Okay.
Well, don't tell her I said that.
Yeah, because she thinks she is.
Ugh.
She really thinks she's a power player.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she's trying to stop everyone from going to school and work.
No, I was like, how are you feeling? What's your symptom? She's like, annoyance. And I'm like, hey, you count lucky.
Stories from the penitentiary? Yes, Zeus from, was that his name? Yeah, no, his name was Debo in Friday,
Yes.
but Zeus was his name.
There you
and
go.
He was the opponent.
Yeah.
I also want to give a shout out to Steph and Dave. Hi, guys.
Oh, hello, Steph and Dave. Very nice. So Thanksgiving, now you didn't celebrate with anyone outside of your household, I hope.
Oh, we broke the rules, dude. My brother came over.
Wow.
I know.
How irresponsible.
I know. I know.
I mean, so how many people are dead now?
I mean,
It doesn't happen till Christmas.
yeah, that's what they said.
You don't want Christmas
That's what
to...
they've all said in the mainstream media. Is they
Yeah.
said that, like, you just wait.
You visit
Mhm.
for Thanksgiving, and what is it? Thanksgiving and then funerals at Christmas. I
Yeah,
forget-
something like that.
something.
You just bring your presents to the funeral.
Just leave them by the reception table.
What if Santa dies? What
Ooh.
happens
Now,
then?
Fauci said that he's invincible to the coronavirus.
Now, you know how the F-16s usually fly with Santa? Do you think it'll be people with like I don't know, Windex or something
No,
to
they'll be
clean
socially
the...
distant, like 600 feet instead of 6 feet. From
Yeah.
the sleigh.
Okay.
We'll make sure.
Yeah, the
spraying some
contrails
sort of...
could have like a Lysol in them or something.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
God, that's man. They just like see the patterns in the sky. I just feel cleaner. That's just so weird.
Yeah. Ho, ho, ho. Individually wrapped cookies,
Yeah.
please.
Oh man, I plan to lick each cookie and
Oh.
a carrot on the plate and then
Steph
spit in the milk and put it out there.
Steph says that let's see, Oregon has a law parties over 6 subject to fines or whatever.
Yeah, I saw a clip of their governor. What's her name? What's like a Kate Brown?
Yes.
That's. She's like, oh well, it's just like when there's a party on the street, you just call the cops, and that's how you. I'm like, oh, so
Yes.
just narking your neighbor. That's a great way to like get to the head of the HOA if you just eliminate all your competition.
Well, yeah. They also had those things, Nazi Germany, if people are having Jewish parties in the streets.
Yeah, in the
Just call
place in which we reside,
Mhm.
right? Our mayor, like many other mayors in the country, like we were
Yeah.
discussing, has decided to rename the place in which we reside to Snitchville, USA. What's happened in our city is the mayor, in all of their amazing brilliance,
Mhm.
which I was telling Roma, by the way, I've never been so intent on seeing a mayor so intent being just one term. Like
Mhm.
this person's crazy.
Mhm.
If you can walk into a business doesn't like it, they can call the cops and you can be cited. You'll probably be trespassed,
Mhm.
because it's not a law, right? Nothing is passed through a legislature. It's a mandate or a public health order.
Mhm.
You can be trespassed from the business and fined.
Mhm.
Conversely, there's a number now that all the Karens can call, and it is super leveled up their Yelp review, like with the power of 1,000 burning suns. Like
Yeah.
you can call and report a business,
Mhm.
and like they can be fined and shut down and fined some more and lose their license. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like what? And this is all the shit that I've been yelling at people half drunk for parties for the last 10 or 15 years, and just getting the 1,000-yard
Yeah.
fluoride stare. It is fucking here.
Yeah.
It is here, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, so one of the interesting things is that the police are always coming in like, and you'll see it on some of the, the viral videos that'll come out, is that people are pushing back, and especially business owners, which is nice in certain areas, I think in New York and some areas. But the police were saying, oh no, it's a law. And they're like, show me that law. They're
Yeah,
like,
what's
no,
statute?
it is a dictate or a mandate or a what? Yeah,
It's
a
an
statute.
edict.
Yeah, an edict. It's like those things are very different. Nobody voted for this. This is something that you guys are pushing on us. And then you're trying to, and there's a lot of sheriffs who are elected officials, which is why I generally like sheriffs. They are saying they're not going to enforce these dictatorial laws, where you get to say, oh, you don't get to hang out with your family. That's less important, because it might be grandma's last. Grandma doesn't get to decide. if she sees her grandkids one last time, if she's gonna die anyways.
Yeah, dude. Like these, I mean, and then meanwhile, like some of these people that we've, before I talk about that, so like I actually know a couple officers, and I asked like about like the citing and the arresting, and they're like, dude, relax.
Yeah,
They'll trespass people.
we'll come take your
obviously.
guns.
Like they didn't
Just
say that,
relax.
thank God. But they're just like, we don't have time for that. Like that's not gonna go. But still, it's the principle, the fact that it's there. In this place that I've essentially spent the majority of my life.
Yeah.
I've lived other places.
All over the place.
Like yeah, and it's just like
Yeah.
it's everywhere, and it's just like the people that think that like, oh well, this will just pass. I got bad news for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were talking about this before we got going. This is just getting started. This is just getting started. Like phase 2 is about to hit here, and it's not going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's not going to be fun.
Romo, we got anything good going on in chat?
Yeah, we've got a little bit of stuff. So Steph was saying that Oregon was doing people over 6 people in the household were subject to arrest.
Feet tall?
6 individual human beings at
years
any
old.
varying heights.
Oh, okay.
I
Gotcha.
don't know if babies count.
My
or not.
mind went to years old too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
anyone
yeah.
over 6 years old is getting arrested.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
right.
What did I do?
Yeah.
But they probably won't arrest
Put
people
down that
under
juice
6.
box.
Yeah.
Yeah. You fascist.
It has a straw.
Yeah.
You're fired.
Is that plastic?
Yeah.
Stories from the penitentiary said 1984 and 2020.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Uh,
COVID 1984, man.
Steve S says, "Welcome to Biden's new world."
Yeah. Yeah. Aldous Huxley. Biden's New World.
Here's the thing. Like I told, because I'm bored libertarian, anything else, and I was talking to somebody that's super conservative, and they were upset, obviously. And I was like, look, if you look at what Biden's doing so far with his cabinet, it's like he's pulling like toilet water that's already been flushed. He's like, okay, we'll just reuse this toilet water and put it back into the bowl.
We're
And
getting
I'm like,
upper decked with
hey,
John
man,
Kerry.
This is the same. This is the same old shit. I survived in that shit. Like, and I was like, oh well, well at least it's not like the crazy woke, crazy far left shit. I'll take this reused, regurgitated old man shit.
Yeah.
Like that we're gonna swim around in that toilet bowl. I can survive in that bowl at least for a little bit.
There'll be enough of the woke shit just to placate them,
Mm-hmm.
but and of course they'll be burning down whatever and pulling down statues and all that because that's the problem, But vote for the guy who's going to put Obama's administration back in office, and then basically just a bunch of global elite that are going to start bombing in the Middle East again, so we could have refugees from all over the place, and
Yeah,
I'm so disappointed that anybody voted that way enough for them to swing the election with, well, let's just say maybe, I don't know if anybody's mentioned this, but possible fraud. I mean, I don't want to throw anything out there that
I was thinking about that and about the fraud stuff, and there's definitely some things that you have mathematicians being like, this doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah.
Excuse me, it doesn't make any sense. And like then you have the people that are like, it's just like it was widespread, and like then they're all pointing to that Dominion software. And my thing is, if they were gonna do something like that, like they need to seize the servers or whatever, and it's just like, dude, they already wiped their tracks clean, baby.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sure of it.
There's going to be no way in hell
I don't know,
we're
but
ever going to find out.
So many people are incompetent.
that's the other part of it. And so, there's two ways to look at this. So either Trump is playing some quadruple D chess, but hear me out. So you have all these, these court filings and these things that don't seem to really hold water, because they do have points in them, and they do have evidence
Right.
of a kind that you could probably look into over time and actually get something overturned eventually. Not that would happen, and especially not if they put Biden in control, which he wouldn't be in control. It'd be whoever, John Kerry and all the other pieces of shit. So what they would do, so the other side of that is they're completely, wrong and nothing, they're just floundering.
Mm.
Now, I think Trump has been ahead on a lot of things, whether, you can't get
I'll
that
agree with that.
lucky, you know what I'm saying? Like nobody's that lucky to like play 4D chess with the other side as often and as frequently, and as having as many people hate him and want him out, especially the CIA. And that's where I'm like, this could be very difficult, is because people like the CIA, who fuck over elections for a living, haven't liked Trump since before he was even in office. You know, they were all a part of all of this.
Yeah, you know, one thing I was thinking about too, like it took big tech, it took the media, it took a whole political party, like, to beat one guy. Like,
Barely. Yeah.
Like, that shows you just how, like, some people would say, well, that's how afraid we are of him having another 4 years. And, like, or it's just like, that's how afraid they are of, like, if he has another 4 years, he's going to be able to dismantle everything that we've built. And, like, that's, to me, as someone I'm not a huge fan of the orange guy. Like, there's been some stuff he's done that I've liked, and some other stuff. I'm like, God, shut your fucking mouth.
Sure.
Just shut up. Like, if he hadn't sent out a single tweet this entire time, it would have been the biggest lance ever. Like, I mean, ever. Like, but clearly
but then the media would have had free reign to talk as much shit as they wanted about him. So there is the other side of that coin, that's the only way that he could talk to the American people. And then they started railroading him. They started putting blocks on it and shit. You know, you can't retweet it. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty shitty.
One thing I was telling you guys before we got going, like, you could be like, save it for the show. I get frustrated. I think like a lot of us get frustrated. It's like, why can't people just see it the way that I see it? Because what I see, especially with my friends that are on the far left, because I have friends on all opposite sides of the political spectrum, left, right, and center, because I'm a damn adult and can have conversations with them and disagree with people and still be their fucking friend. Like, I don't understand when that got thrown out.
Yeah.
Like, I've tried to explain this to my really far left friends and my progressive friends that I was like, this all worked out for you, great, but it took big tech and the mainstream news literally censoring opposite viewpoints and censoring literal big stories for you to win.
Yeah.
And this worked out for you this time, but we all know the history goes, the pendulum goes back and forth. What's going to happen when all this, and again, we've talked about Marxism before, when all this shit that you helped advance comes back and bites you right in the fucking ass.
Yep.
Like, it's going to be way worse for you.
And the fact that you've put in globalist warmongers, you put in the corporate elite. That's who you put into office.
Yeah.
Aren't Democrats and liberals the opposite of that? Like wasn't that part of the problem? Like, I don't know, 20 years ago?
It doesn't matter
before Obama, like, I mean, even like Clinton and stuff. It's like that was part of the problem. Like, it was for the people, the working man, he's Joe regular guy.
Scranton Joe.
Yeah. Well, it was Clinton I was talking about, but then, then there's Scranton Joe.
Right.
Just got every dirty deal in the book. And here's the other thing. I didn't realize that Joe Biden was the one pushing Obama so hard, because, I mean, what he beat him by, like 11 million votes?
Yeah.
It's like, really, he was the strength. He was the anchor of the Obama administration, the Obama ticket.
Yeah, I mean, Obama's the one that knocked down the votes.
I would think so, yeah. It was just his shitty personality, like Trump.
Yep.
Yeah. I just
Obama was holding Biden back.
Nobody
knows. Yeah, hold back better. That was the campaign.
So the one thing like where I get like the Trump people where I'm like that I don't get it either is you hear like, how did this guy that literally has like 1 foot in embalming fluid where the dead kids are petting his legs like in the leg hair and then 1 foot in regality, like, how did this guy who can't, he could barely fill like a conference room like in the back of like a TGI Fridays, like with
reporters, not even with a single person for him
saying crazy shit, crazy things like I'm running against Bush, like just this this guy got the most votes in American history.
Right.
And like
Yeah.
the left, I know what the leftists will say. They'll say, well, people hate Trump that much. And I'm just like, are you sure though? Because like he was like 63,000 people at these rallies. Like, I mean, just out, he's chilling in his basement, like sipping on Ovaltine, waiting for the Gunsmoke reruns to come on at 4:30 so he can have dinner at 5 and bedtime at 6:30. Like, all that hustling that the orange dude did, like, wasn't enough. Like, and again, it goes back to like, dude, it took all that effort, all that suppression, all that censorship, all like the media for 4 years doing nothing but just like railing on this guy for them to barely win.
Absolutely.
And for Weekend at Biden's to get all this vote. Like, I mean, it just doesn't really make any sense. It doesn't work. I mean, it might, again, if you're on the left, like, well, I won. So I'm like, okay, great. But like, can you see why people will be like, I don't think that really makes any sense.
Well, and here's the thing. So if there was a cause of all this, it would have to be the mail-in voting. It would have to be that they change the rules. And obviously, if you're winning at something, you don't change the rules. You know, if you're winning at a whatever football or whatever, you don't change the rules. If you are losing, you change the rules and you cheat to, you know, basically a lot of ballot harvesting and all that stuff is what's suspected. They were talking about, you know, look at the 5 cities that are so off the map as far as like
voter turnout
outcome. Yeah, exactly. Voter turnout, all the votes in the middle of the night. So it's Atlanta, Milwaukee, Detroit, Philadelphia, and then the Malheur County, I think, or it's one of the counties in Arizona.
Okay.
But look at those places, and it's like, well, if you were going to set up an election fraud, where would you do it at?
Wasn't it Maricopa?
Maricopa, yes,
That's right.
Maricopa.
I was like, he's M.
Yes.
That's Maricopa. There it is.
Yeah. So if you're going to set up election fraud, you can only do it in isolated areas, you know, and they talk about widespread or whatever. Well, what does widespread mean? Does that mean that like they set it up so they're like, hey, we're going to put Dominion voting machines in all of these places and we're going to, you know, every single state is going to go unbelievably for Biden? Or did just these places and to have such crazy swings? And those mathematicians, math doesn't lie.
No.
You know, math, statistics, all of it. And when you have like PhDs from MIT and, you know, these guys that are the most brilliant people and probably not particularly Trump fans going, you know, my job is to look at numbers and find patterns. And, you know, that's who I am. I'm a freaking genius.
Yeah.
Like, get out of my way. I have to look at this shit. And they're saying this is, you know, completely impossible.
Mm-hmm. Statistically impossible.
Yeah. It's, you know, and then what were the bellwether counties? So are you aware of what bellwether counties are?
No.
So bellwether counties are, I think it's like 50 something counties that they've identified that in the past like 40 years have always predicted the presidential outcome.
I know what that is. Okay.
So I think Trump got all but 2 of them. And yet this time it's completely different. Like this time it's completely the opposite.
I didn't hear about that one. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, so basically they're just kind of like, hey, if these counties vote for you, if you win in these places, you're going to be the president.
Huh.
And to have only 2 of them not
vote for
you
him.
know, you'd be like, okay, if it was 50-50, I guess whatever, why would they all be different? But in every presidential election they have
predicted
the overwhelming majority have predicted the
I'll have to look
president.
into that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm gonna look at that too. That sounds fun.
Mhm.
And fun is in like 2 a.m. I'm like, I can't go to sleep. So let the dog out, and then like I'm awake, and the kid's like, yeah, what's the platter?
Are you looking at Bellwether counties?
It sounds like it's time to know this.
Well, and bellwether states, Ohio and Florida are both bellwether states,
Okay.
and they both went for Trump this year. So
Interesting.
so it is. Yes, it's.
I would just love to know. Like whatever way it turns out, like I'm a firm believer that America gets it right.
Mhm.
Like I just do. I trust.
Mhm.
I trust my fellow countrymen and countrywomen that we get it right.
Yeah.
And like I would just, even if you got the result you wanted, you wouldn't you want to know that you won the right way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I want to know that our system works.
And that's my biggest thing. It's like,
How-
of course I want my guy to win, but at the end of the day, like if they're cheating, then next time, even if my guy won this time,
Mhm.
my guy might not win next time
I mean, and why would you even
or
go and
ever
vote?
again. Yeah.
Because you just know that, unless you're voting for the same party that's going to do the cheating, which
Right.
is great for them. But I think that us, like you said, if someone won it fair and square, so be it. Totally fine. I can be a good loser. I just want to make sure that I mean, either way, there's going to be somebody disenfranchised by this, because if they overturn it and however
Yeah.
many people, I mean, even a large percentage of Democrats feel like it was
Screwy.
yeah, that something's going on, which is awesome that people are like, this is kind of weird, like, really? You kicked the shit out of Obama? Like Obama was a thing when he got voted,
Right.
like to beat him by tens of millions of votes. It's a little suspicious.
Yeah, election day story. I went to go vote early,
Mhm.
so I took my old man with me, and my old man in his age has gone soft. Like he used to be this Republican person.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's like gives money to the Democrats. I'm just like and watches
Weird.
CNN like all the time. And I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
We have many conversations about CNN.
Mhm.
Many conversations about it. And I took him, and I was in the voting booth, and so in our state, Con Yeezy was on the ballot, and I
Yeah.
was just staring at the people for president, and I was just like, this is a thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Just want to take a
if I
picture.
could show this to like,
I did take a picture.
if I could show this to like college me that was way in the Kanye West, like when College Dropout came out, and when the
Speaking
late
through the
registration-
wire. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, if I could go back, it's like, dude, this guy, he is going to be running for president.
Donald Trump
Donald
and Kanye
Trump
West.
they're going to be in the same ticket together. And
Yeah.
my college roommate would be like, fuck you, that's not going to be a thing.
Yeah.
Like, and I was just sitting there, and I was like, kind of like laughing, and then like I had this like real genuine moment where I was just like pissed. I was just thunder pissed, like, and I was just looking at it, and I was just like, because I had gone back and forth who I was going to vote for him. And, I considered all options. Definitely not Biden. I had thought about, and the guy doesn't know where he is. I was like, I had thought about Trump, and I was sitting there, and literally in my head, it was like, now they do what they told you. And I was like, fuck it, Joe
Yeah.
Jorgensen. I was like, fuck this. Nope, I'm not taking your this stupid binary choice.
Mhm.
Fuck it, fuck you. If
Mhm.
I could have lit the place on fire, I would have.
Mhm.
Oh, you should have
And, like,
voted for Kanye
I
then.
mean, like, here's one for me, here's one from Rage.
Yeah.
I got
That was
excited.
awesome.
This is why I couldn't have the 200 milligrams of caffeine.
Yes.
300 milligrams.
300. 300 or 344. I only play dangerous games. I also like to live dangerously.
What is happening to my headphones, dude?
You got to listen through them.
Oh, wait, no.
We're having technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Okay, it's happening.
Start playing the music.
Time-
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well-
no, I was just like pissed, and I just had this moment, and I was just like, no.
Well, I think, I think, our state is not a swing state. So,
No.
you kind of get
I
to
can vote my conscience.
get to vote however you want, of course. But if everybody does that, then, and that's the part about voting that's hard is that if you want something to count, you're forced to go into this, binary, because like Ross Perot got like 12% of the vote, or 17 or something. And that was the biggest, closest somebody ever got,
To a third party.
back, I think when,
I wonder what Ron Paul got.
whatever it is, it wasn't super significant. It always impacts one side or the other,
Mhm.
because depending on how people lean. I don't know. So I just hope, I don't know, you're going to disenfranchise some percentage of the country, and whether you whether you believe, so are you aware of kind of the constitutional, so we live in a constitutional republic.
That's correct. It's not a democracy.
Correct. So, you know, the popular vote does not matter at all. You know, it's more of just a thing that the media uses. Yeah. That, a lot of people that live in highly densely populated areas voted for Democrats, even though a Republican won. And the reason that that's good is because the smaller states would then be ruled by New York City and LA, you know, if they weren't like burned to the ground by their politicians who they voted for. So that's great that they would be voting in, you know, the president that rural Kentucky and Montana and, you know, Nebraska would be, you know, would be overseeing, and then of course legislating accordingly to those giant cities. And you know, so we would have to be setting up homeless encampments and all sorts of you know, human feces removal services and things. nice things. Porta potties under every overpass.
Yeah,
just the nice stuff that you see. Americana, we call it. So the electorate, so the electoral college, they can basically vote for whoever they want.
Yeah.
They don't have to vote for the person that technically, you know, won a state.
Huh.
And the reason being is that we elect representatives to
Right.
represent us as, you know, its constituents. So that's what they're going for in Pennsylvania or Georgia or Arizona or any of these places, is they're trying to, that's one of the reasons why they're saying, there's all these spelling errors and there's all these things in the, you know, in the documents that they submitted for their appeals process or whatever, their lawsuit. So when you get to the court, you know, maybe you're just burning up some time, but you're trying to get it to the point where you get to, you know, run out the clock, and then
the legislators have to vote, correct?
Yes, which is conservative, which are more conservative. I think it's like 29 conservative to whatever 21 liberal as far as like state legislators go, I believe. So we might.
Dude, can you imagine?
Be messy.
Can you imagine if they overturned it
It would be rough.
after all this victory lapping and all this celebration?
Yep.
And all the media calling it early.
Mm-hmm.
And again, depending on what kind of tinfoil hat you want to put on, like that might have been the plan all along. You know what I mean? They did it with the Russiagate thing. They did it with the Ukraine. If we say it enough, it becomes true.
Mhm.
Right.
If we say it enough, it becomes true. And like that's what they're doing, knowing what if they full well know this thing is going to go all the way up to the Supreme Court? They're going to kick it to the legislature, but they know that, and they want to make sure that like they got people riled up enough to actually just completely snap, and then we're out of control, right, on the global stage. Now America is like literally Britney Spears, like on top of a limousine, like flashing her hoo-ha everywhere, like, and we're trying to get it to come down, but she doesn't want to. Like, then you got to call Russia and China and use them as NATO troops, because they'll have no problem shooting Americans. Like,
yeah, but they have blue helmets, though.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Isn't that
know
it,
whose
or is
team
that
it is.
UN peacekeepers?
I think it's I think it's UN. But like, that would be like a disaster. I mean, because that's the thing. Like, you would have to probably bring an outside force, because if it really got to the point where, especially if like I was telling my liberal buddies, I was like, look, dude, like, let me tell you what happened if Biden actually gets in. There are gonna be some protests, and by protests I mean like they're gonna show up dressed up as like Tea Party people. Like, you might have occasion like one white nationalist go do something stupid every once in a blue moon, but by and large they're not gonna burn businesses. They're not gonna do any of that stuff.
No, they had the Million MAGA March.
Yeah, like and again, like the city, there wasn't excess trash. There wasn't like they didn't do anything.
No.
Like
Just the Antifa that showed up,
Yeah,
got their asses kicked.
they were fine.
You know.
They were fine until Antifa showed up, and started causing problems.
Mhm.
Like, but that will happen. But if they somehow manage to piss off conservative America, if like conservative America gets pushed hard enough, then we'll be in real big trouble. As far as like, because like again, like I told my buddy, I was like, in our state there is a gun behind every blade of grass,
Mhm.
like, and like there's over 1 trillion rounds of ammunition in the United States that citizenry owns, private citizenry.
Sure.
Like back, I think it was like 6-7 years ago, the government agencies were buying up
Mm.
all this ammunition, like agencies that had nothing to do with the military. And it's like, well, why are they doing it for this moment that we're in right now?
Sure.
Because it could, like, again, it could all pop off, and it would be. I hope there's part of me that's like, dude, it's almost like let the Wookiee win, like.
Who's the Wookiee? Biden.
Biden, like let with his white leg hair in the pool, let the Wookiee win. Like, but let's examine the voting system and make sure that there wasn't something in there. But again, what are the chances of that once his administration takes over? A lot of the stuff that was previously up for grabs as far as misbehavior, it's going to be buried forever.
Well, and I think, yeah, for sure, you know, there's not going to be any more Russiagate, all that stuff. And that's the other thing is that they've talked about, like, oh, you're trying to, you know, disenfranchise the election and all this stuff. It's like, well, wait, wasn't that what was going on with the whole Russiagate, the Spygate, and all that crap?
Impeachment.
Yeah, wasn't that all of that for 4 years almost? So now we have, you know, 2-3 weeks of challenging a ridiculous election that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that obviously has some issues to it that anybody can see. You know.
Anybody that's intellectually honest can see it.
Yes.
Isn't completely brainwashed by CNN.
And that's the problem too. Is I think if you look at, like, I think conservatives are generally civil disobedient types, and that we would not kind of like those sheriffs that are saying we're not gonna, you know, follow, you know, these mandates or whatever. I think that's very much how conservatives are, and I feel like that's how conservative state governors should be, and mayors and whatever council people, all that. But there are those large things like wars that are going to come around because, unfortunately, you know, you have Trump doing the Middle Eastern peace deals, and then, you know, a lot of people are saying, well, give it 12 months and we'll be at war in several Middle Eastern areas, just because that's their MO. And all the liberals who love war hawks, you know, they'll be just so happy that this is where they're going. And with the mask mandates and the lockdowns, stopping their children from going to school, stopping the economy from progressing, it's giving all the money to Jeff Bezos and, you know,
and illegal aliens.
Yeah, you know, letting in a lot of people from the, you know, tear down that wall, that border wall that keeps us, you know.
Get Antifa to do it.
Yeah, exactly. So there's no good that comes out of this election.
No.
Really. It's all been kind of ruined. There should have never been, no state should have allowed mail-in voting beyond what absentee ballots already
absentee
covered.
ballot I'm cool with, because they've vetted, like, and once you're in the system, you're in the system, cool.
Yeah, you request it, you get it, you fill it out, you turn it in. That's fine. Sending out ballots.
Some of those states weren't even checking the signatures, right? They weren't
Absolutely
required.
not.
That is, it's like, that, I don't, again, if you're intellectually honest, you should be like, that seems shady.
Mm-hmm. Well, and honestly, one of my biggest arguments, because people were like, oh, there's no fraud, you know, there's no evidence of fraud. And I'm like, they weren't letting the Republicans watch the vote counting. That's enough for me. That's enough for me. Like, what else do you need?
Yeah.
Like, those votes should be thrown out because they were clearly, there's something nefarious was going on, or else you would have let them watch.
And signed affidavits are very important, because if you have
absolutely.
signed affidavits that somebody's saying under oath, I swear this is what I saw, and if they prove you wrong,
you're going to prison.
Yeah, you know, and you don't think that there's video recording, you don't think that there's this and that, you know, these are American people coming against, you know,
You've
against
even got
something.
Democrats that are doing it.
Yes, against a big machine that they don't want to be on the wrong side of, and they're saying that out of my, you know, personal constitution, I cannot allow this to go by without me saying something. And I take, you know, and I would be the same way, because I'd be one of those guys going, what's going on here? Like these are the fucking rules, you know? But of course, no, you ain't got whatever, you know, like these people throwing shit at you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, okay, I'll just back away. Fucking, you know, Project Veritas, you know, because I mean, what do you do?
Right.
You know,
That guy has got the biggest brass balls.
Yep.
How is James O'Keefe still alive?
Yeah.
How is he still alive?
Yeah. He's
And
lucky
people-
it's not the 1960s because they took out a lot of people.
Oh man,
Yeah.
he just, I mean, they come out and they're like, somebody like, it's staged. I'm like, no, it's really not. It's really not.
Mhm.
Like, and he keeps, again, like they try to take him to court, they try to just, and like they ultimately have to retract, and he puts them on his wall.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like, oh my gosh, like,
Yeah.
one thing I'm afraid of too is like, what if they find actual like fraud, they have to say it's true, and like our systems of justice decide to not do anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's scary.
That's what it seems like.
Yep.
You know,
And if they don't,
honestly,
it's just like, you kind of like what you guys says, like, why even vote?
Mm-hmm.
well, they were
Why
saying
even
with,
waste my time?
they were saying with that NASCAR driver, they're like he says something about a noose and 22 FBI agents
Came to investigate.
go to his garage to investigate and find out, oh wait, they're just on all of them. This is just the thing that pulls the garage door down.
Yeah. And
It's been here for years, you
Yes.
know, because they look back on video footage and it's still the same thing 2 years ago. So
not one.
they said 22 FBI agents there, but then you have all this fraud and the FBI's like, whoa, 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 this is just, you know, hey guys, let's not get crazy here,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it's, again, like, it's just, we've entered like the lightning round. Like, as far as like what's coming next, it's just, I see it. And again, like, we've managed to, over, you know, a couple presidencies now, consolidate again. Not only, this is like the last part of Voltron, like now they have the media and big tech, like, and it's all clearly on one particular side of the aisle, and it's all piled up, and it's just like, again, they keep, I think I've talked about it before when I've come on here before, it's like if you picture like the office of the presidency as like a
Of the president-elect.
right, okay, you're right,
Office of the prospective
Okay.
president-elect.
right. If you picture just the Oval Office as like a magical sword that you would wield in like a video game or D&D or whatever,
Mhm.
and it's like the office, a sword of presidency. With all the executive orders that have been written over the last several terms, it's like every time they do that, they give it like, okay, here's a gem that gives it +5 fire damage. Here's another one that gives it ice damage. Oh, and it has wind damage now too. Oh, and it does like spirit damage in the ethereal realm if you're there. And like
Of course.
they keep adding, and now that they have big tech, and it's like they've created this god sword that, again, whoever it doesn't have an alignment, a good or an evil alignment, but they keep giving it more cool shit that it can do. But the problem is, you're setting up for someone that's going to pick that sword up and completely misbehave with it. And some people thought that was Donald Trump misbehaving
Yeah.
with the sword. And I guess it depends on what your viewpoint is. But again, like, he, you know, for all of his faults, right, he didn't start any wars.
Yeah.
Like, and again, he was egged on. Remember, like, when they did that thing in the Gulf of Iran, and like one of the war hawks like, we got to do this, and he was like, no,
John Bolton.
that's cool, we're
Yeah.
not going to do that. And people are like, he's going to bomb Iran on his way out. No, he's not.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just shut up. He's playing golf.
Yeah.
Like, the guy, he cleared, you know, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
But I just see that, and I'm just like, do you not see that? I've talked to my far left leaning friends about this. I'm like, do you not see the danger in this? Do you not see what's being created? You know who else made? And they're like, these celebrities, like, we need to make lists. I've even seen people like that are my friends, like, yeah, I'm remembering all you guys. I've made a list of you guys who voted for. And it's just like,
Oh.
you know
Yeah,
who
yeah,
else made lists? The Nazis, dude.
Yeah.
The Nazis did that.
Mhm.
Like,
Yikes.
the KGB did that.
Yeah,
Like,
they're like, but no, they were bad people though. You know, and have you seen that skit? I can't remember who. I don't know who did it, but there's like these two Nazis standing there, and they're like, "Are we the baddies?" Because they're, you know, are we the bad guys? You know, but at that point, you wouldn't know that. You would think, oh, we're totally the good guys. Yeah, we're just God and country, you know, or lack of God and country or whatever. But yeah, it's very interesting because it's all about perspective, and it's interesting because there's memes out there that go, if you're burning books and keeping lists of people and wanting
Yeah,
to
dude.
re-educate people and all of this stuff and committing violent acts and burning down businesses for not agreeing with you and you know, embezzling money and all this shit, you might not be the good guy.
Yeah.
You know, you might not be the good guy in the situation.
Yeah.
You know, if you're trying to stifle people's freedom of speech and
Yeah, it's scary, man. Like especially the banning the book stuff.
It's
Like,
crazy.
I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like, again, like, can't you just say, like, hey, this is before we read The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn
Mhm.
class.
Hate speech.
I'd like to talk to you about, like, some of the language that's in here.
Yeah.
And is reflective of not of how we think today, but how they thought back then.
Mhm.
So please, don't call your fellow classmates the N-word, please. Like, let's not do that.
Now, your friend Jim here, we're not going to call him Edward Jim, okay? That is just out of the question that will ever occur, you saying that.
Yeah, and it's just like, again, like, but again, I'm irritated because as just like a regular average citizen, because it's like, no, I am smart enough to make up my mind about how I feel about certain things and how I perceive events, because I have an adult critically thinking brain.
Mhm.
But if somewhere along the line, like, we're not teaching critical thinking to kids anymore, and right now we know, like, if you go to college and if you're a Gen Zer right now, dude, they're brainwashing you in college straight up.
Have been for years.
Been for years.
Yeah.
Have been when I was in college. Like, it's just like, it's a literal breeding ground for that far left stuff. And now they've gotten so bold with it. And like, now you have these trust fund kids that are going and like burning stuff down and then like going back to a gated community when they're done.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, and they're like, I did something.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh my, I just see it. And I'm just like, again, it's just like, we're heading towards this weird, and again, I think we're about to start the second phase of whatever is going on. Because I think anybody, no matter, I don't care like what side of the aisle somebody's on, I think we all agree that there is something amiss. There's something really wrong. Like, and it's funny, I was talking to my buddy like probably 6 months before the coronavirus hit. My energy worker buddy. We referenced him last time I came on the show.
The one that was
A little problem with visitor.
Yeah.
Spiritual visitor inside him.
The one that was possessed.
Like
Massaging Satan.
Yeah. We had been saying, like, having some conversations, and like I had been feeling for months. I'm like, dude, something big's coming. I don't know what it is, but something big. It's like I could feel like we've been in somewhere for too long without like.
Are you talking about the PlayStation 5?
Yes, I was like,
okay,
something's coming.
Yeah,
Something's
PlayStation
big.
4 has been here way too long.
I'm gonna put something in my hand, and it's literally going to
vibrate.
It's gonna vibrate hard, so hard in my hand. It's gonna feel like
it's gonna look like two dildos.
Yep.
Little joysticks.
When I set it on the coffee table, it's gonna vibrate so hard the coffee table will shatter. I can't wait for video games to get that good. No, seriously, I can't wait for like the Black Mirror stuff where you put the thing and lean back and like go into the game.
I can't wait.
That's the only part of the Neuralink that I'm like, I don't care about I don't want to be a smarter human. Just can I go inside of Black Desert Mobile? Like that I've been playing on my phone. I just can I be the guy? Or the gal or whoever? Can I just do that and like see The Witcher in like real time? Like be in the game, like that type of gaming. I'm like, that is. I told my kid.
Yeah, but the smell.
Well,
would be a little rough.
Are you going for realism?
I mean, see, I would go like, hey, I want the orgasm one, and then I'll be like, don't you have to put that Neuralink up my butt? They're like, that's anal beads, sir. And no. I'll be like, oh. I did. Well, yeah, I guess put it in my brain.
Yeah, that's the only thing is like I just want gaming capabilities. I don't need to be smarter than I already am. I kind of like being stupid. Like I just can I play the game like really? That's all I want. I don't even know where I was going with that. Like I'm just so excited about that. You said PS5 and like everything, the whole train.
You were talking about your energy friend, and you said something is coming.
Yeah, and then you were like, I know how to throw John off. I'll mention something he loves.
Yeah.
But I could just feel like something's coming. Like I can't explain it. Like I just like this is something. And like on an old podcast I used to produce, I had said like the second the Who started acting weird, I was like, this is different. This might be it. Like they're acting. Who was acting weird? China was acting weird. CDC was acting weird. I was like, nope, we're about to do something's about to go down. And then again at the top of this, they're like, just 2 weeks, y'all. Flatten the curve. And then we'll be back in business, baby.
Right.
oh, if this is still going by June, that'll be like way too long.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like, well, hopefully by 2022. And I'm like, go fuck yourself. No,
Yeah.
I can't do this shit too much longer.
Well, Roman, will you show the articles?
Which one do you want to start with?
Just, whichever one. I don't know. Yeah, so that one's fine.
Ooh, COVID stuff? Dude, this has been like my nightly reading.
Yeah.
I read about the Rona.
So this is the what is it? John Hopkins newsletter.
Okay, so legit.
Pretty legit, yeah. Actually went to Johns Hopkins.
Little brag or anything.
I did.
Nice.
I took one course.
Hey, but you went
that
there.
counts.
That's right.
You went there.
Well, actually, I was on a campus near John Hopkins, but it
Which
was
means
through
you
John
can go to the
Hopkins.
John Hopkins football games and like feel like you're a part of something.
Exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
I fell off a tire swing.
Okay, sweet.
Anyways,
Yeah, and got a head injury.
absolutely. One of my many head injuries.
A closer look at the U.S. deaths due to COVID-19. Like, did it mean like they leaned closer in the morgue and was like,
Yep.
smells like COVID.
That's right.
They
This
had
guy died in a motorcycle accident. COVID. What were you gonna say?
They have COVID sniffing dogs.
Do they?
Mhm.
I'm not shocked by that at all.
So just everyone.
What's,
Yeah.
Yep.
What's
Yep.
the matter, Pickles?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
See, Pickles is a great name for a dog.
Yeah.
I was trying to talk Steve H into naming his next dog Pickles.
Yeah. COVID? Where? Everywhere. Oh, God.
So this is actually a retraction, an editor's note for a study that was released that was a bit controversial.
Okay.
And the reason it was controversial is so that's the retraction. If you go to the next one, it's the PDF in the drive. So this is actually the letter that was put out, I think November 22nd. It was pulled within a few days.
Okay.
So kind of a big deal as far as the internet goes. So what this is it was written by, I think, a master's level somebody, but they were doing like health statistics analysis. So actually that's an important part right there, Rob. Will you zoom in a little bit on it?
Mhm.
Can you?
Oh, yes.
Yes. So this
Look at
is
that.
this is just studying kind of the deaths per week. And so if you look at the top there, heart diseases. So on the week of April 11th, there were 824, heart disease related
Mhm.
deaths. And then, just some pluses on most of them. When you jump to the next one over, there's actually negatives on almost everything except cerebral vascular and then COVID heart diseases.
Oh.
And so you're looking at it and you're like, wait a minute. So basically they've just like all of these negatives there, like these are
It's because they're counting that shit as COVID, right? COVID
Mhm.
related.
that's basically what it's
Alluding
looking
to,
at.
yeah.
And
Oh, boy.
so that retraction says, oh, well, they're not looking at raw death data, which it didn't really. I've read the article and I'm like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I'm not a statistician or mathematician or anything. So I can't tell you what raw deaths is versus, looking at just the numbers of reported deaths for each. But it does lead you to believe. And one of the big things was that, obviously there's variances between years of how many people
Mhm.
die. And she was basically saying older people have not died at a higher rate. And, overall people have not died at a higher rate, but, or a higher number,
Mm.
higher quantity. So, but then the retraction says like, oh, there's been 300,000 deaths. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if the numbers really say that, but basically the retraction says, oh, people are taking this out of context and using it to,
Say COVID's not a thing.
to
Debunk
go
COVID.
against the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, that's kind of how dissenting opinion goes. They do. It does contradict the narrative
Mhm.
that
But again,
you'd be.
Shouldn't you want science to be constantly challenged and pushed? I would, because consensus science to me seems dangerous.
Yeah, but then people would go have dinner with their families.
Can't have that.
Dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
What's really weird is like a lot of these elected leaders that were just like, yeah, here's some draconian measures for Thanksgiving, and then like they're like, oh, I'm gonna go see my grandma, and like I'm gonna fly, even though I told you not to fly, I'm gonna
Mhm.
fly, and they're like, all of a sudden they're like, what do you? And they get caught and like, well, I made a mistake.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. I was thinking with my heart
Yeah.
instead of my penis, or like
Yeah.
whatever they think. It's just like
Yeah.
like
Newsom, he was the worst. The California one.
yeah. He's like,
where
and I'm outside. There's pictures of him like inside.
He's
And
like, that's my bad. Like he's. It reminded me of
Whoopsie-daisy.
Matthew McConaughey or something. He's like, all right, you got me. And that was my bad. It's like, dude,
He
will you
just
fucking
smirks through the whole thing.
Yeah, basically, just like you fucking assholes. Whatever. I'm not gonna change shit.
Well, again, it just
but
shows
you stay home.
If the leadership isn't scared.
Exactly.
Like,
And
these
that's
are
the
people,
whole point.
These people are like super. I mean, I can't speak for all politicians. I'm sure Tulsi Gabbard's the only good one because she looks like an X-Men.
She
That's
does.
That's the only. She looks like Rogue from X-Men.
I
So
think
she gets
we
a
need-
pass in my mind.
We need to have her and Dan Crenshaw be the president and vice
I
president.
told someone this shit the other day.
It
and,
would
like,
be amazing.
It would never work. I'm like, are you kidding? It would work like gangbusters. People would be like, where do I sign up? They're
It
both
would be
extremely charismatic. They're moderate. They're reasonable.
They're both attractive and
Yeah.
they've got cool, like, defining features.
Mm-hmm.
Shock of white hair and a freaking
An eye patch?
Yeah, he looks
Shut
like
up.
Nick Fury.
Yeah.
It would be rad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would vote for that I'd be like, where do I sign?
Yep.
We don't need to have any debates. I don't care who else is running. I mean, maybe if Jesus was on the ticket, I'd be like, okay, well, I'll listen to what Jesus has to say.
Yeah.
But like, I would in a heartbeat. Oh, messed up thought. Someone told me this the other day, and I was like, you're a genius, and you're probably evil as well. Wouldn't it be funny if, like, so Trump loses, right, and he's out. He goes and he buys CNN, and then he doesn't, and it's just like it's like a backroom like deal, and like it's a closet like acquisition. He buys it and he goes on air and he fires all the people that have trolled him for 4 years. Like, goodbye Don Lemon, goodbye Wolf Blitzer, goodbye Anderson Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
But then he uses the power of CNN to troll Joe Biden as hard as he can for 4 years. And I was like, you know what? I told that person, it's like, you're an evil genius. Like, but if there is anyone out there who would be that petty, it is definitely Donald J. Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Well, did you hear he's been talking about having his own news network as soon as he's not president anymore?
Oh, dude, if you had an audience of guaranteed 70 million people who think they've been robbed,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to listen to everything you have to say. They're going to buy everything you put out. Like, of course he's going to leverage that.
Yeah.
These people are like, I can't wait till he's gone forever. Good luck, because he ain't going nowhere.
Well, there's a strong concern that he will actually create his own secondary like government, secondary
Oh.
yeah, where from
would that even
Mar-a-Lago
work?
or something,
How could you make your own second government?
How does that work?
because you have people that are loyal to you, and then there are people that are, because it's a split election, because the people who, most of the people who voted, I mean, I would say probably the vast majority of those 70 million people that voted for Trump did so, and they're real,
Right,
they're actual people
voters,
that
yeah.
submitted votes.
Not dead and not
Not
made
not
in
dead, not made
names and-
up.
yeah.
Don't live in a casino or
Cats.
live in a post office. So what they were saying is that, if those people commit to Trump while Biden has his, 30 million people who voted for him, then there's probably a few
That
more
would
than
be
that.
weird.
But
Can you imagine that? like he's just
That
like,
would
no,
be-
well, I got this new government. We're just like, what?
it would be
What
a
new
lot
government?
like a civil war,
Yeah.
It'd be, I don't know. I kind of feel like at this point, like you just need to have two presidents, and you have like a Republican president and a Democrat
Yeah.
president.
Mhm.
And if you're a Republican state, that's your president. If you're a Democrat state, that's your president. And if
Mhm.
you don't like the state you're in, you need to move to another state that's your state.
And I think that's kind of what they're talking about
Yeah.
is that, the people that are, if you're in an area that follows what president, you follow that president. And it only leads, I'm sure, to violence and dissent. And
Oh,
All
It would
sorts
make
of-
trade hard, I think. Trade would be it could be a real big obstacle.
it's true, allowing people through the borders and
Mhm.
stuff. I mean, you got a big red area in the middle, so that's nice.
Mhm.
Just travel freely.
yeah,
But trying to get to a beach isn't going to be easy.
Mm-mm.
that's the thing. It isn't going to be easy.
Hmm.
Like if this type of stuff takes hold, like people like me are going to be like, for example, I recently I purchased another firearm. And when I was in the store purchasing it, like checking out, one of the workers was on the phone with somebody from Minnesota who was ordering ammunition all the way from Minnesota in our state, which is like way far away.
Mm-hmm.
And because they're getting like in those states where and places where like I guess by what the gun people were telling me is like they're marking up the price of ammunition and stuff like that because there's no cops. And like there's gonna, I mean, like they're in these big places with unrest, so like they're gouging people on the ammunition. So like they're calling around trying to find the cheapest ammunition they can find, and like of course paying extra to have it shipped to them because it's probably still ultimately cheaper. Than
getting it shipped to their FFL.
And that to me in my head is like this is a big warning bell. Like the fact that that's happening, like that's pretty intense. And my thought is like I just want to be able to go from point A to point B. And worry about the PlayStation 5 controller on my balls.
Yeah.
I don't want to play Civil War.
No.
LARPing is dumb. And, you know, I don't want to be caught in the middle of, like... Because I don't think it'll be just, like, the red team versus the blue team. Like, it'll be, like, 8 different factions, like, in different slices of people.
Well, yeah, because that's already happening anyways, because you've got, you know... the right or conservatives or whatever, and then you have the left, but the left is made up of like, you know, BLM, Black Lives or Antifa, you know, then you just kind of have like anarchists in general. I don't know.
That Sunshine Club or whatever it is.
Is it the Sunshine Club?
I don't know. It's something that the Democrats started. It's basically Marxism, but it's school age. So those are the people that go that have to do with like AOC I think is like big with them, and so like the Green New Deal. Basically, it's a way to get children like Greta Thunberg or whatever to.
How dare you?
Yeah, exactly.
How dare you?
Yes.
It's a way to get children to try to influence politics and become radical kind of revolutionary types that would then become Antifa and. You know, starts in high school or grade
normal.
School.
Let's do more of it.
Hey, you get child soldiers. They're very effective.
I just want to go back to the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of miss the 80s.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Is that what it is?
Oh, look. They look totally harmless. That's fine.
I don't know. This is it.
I don't think
Christmas.
I don't think they celebrate Christmas.
I don't think they do either.
It's something to do with sun. It's something to do with sun. So like Revolutionary Sun Club, something.
That's weird.
I don't know.
That's strange.
Yeah, or climate change. Yeah.
Oh, dude, can we talk about the Karate Kid Part 3?
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
I want to talk about the Karate Kid Part 3. So I was watching, I just was dinking around on the YouTubes the other night. And I don't know how I got there. I don't know how YouTube reads me so well. Probably because it's these algorithms that know what's going on. I was watching. Have you guys ever watched something as a kid, and then like you come back to like that exact clip years later, and it means something different to you?
Yeah.
Sure.
So I was watching the end of Karate Kid 3. For those of you out there who don't know what it is, it's
Sunrise Movement. Sorry.
Sunrise Movement, not the club. Okay. So in Karate Kid 3, right? This is after he goes to Japan, and beats Chosen in the weird swing your arms back and forth thing, and then the liver die and the nose honk. Also classic 80s amazement.
Okay.
So I was watching the end of Karate Kid 3. Now, if you're not familiar with Karate Kid 3, essentially like Cobra Kai wants revenge. Daniel doesn't really want to fight in the tournament again, but he gets strong-armed into signing the contract to fight in the tournament again, and abandons Mr. Miyagi for a minute. Mr. Miyagi saves him, retrains him, and he goes and he's fighting the legendary Mike Barnes, who is now the puppet of Terry Silver and John Kreese for the Cobra Kai Dojo. Which, by the way, the new season of Cobra Kai is going to come out in January, and I'm praying that Terry Silver is in it. I'm like, is this actor still alive? Hopefully he is. Same with Elizabeth Shue. Like, let's get her involved. Anyway, and you're watching the end, and like he's been basically like beat up in the tournament, and he's on the ground, and he's been roughed up. It's like sudden death, like because like he's just like gotten Mike Barnes built his points up, and then was committing penalties and losing points, and just torturing him basically.
Fighting dirty.
He's on the ground, and he's just freaking out. He's like, I want to go home. Daniel was like, I want to go home. I want to go home. Like I don't want to do this anymore. Let's just go. And Mr. Miyagi says to him, you know, it's okay to lose to your opponent, but it's not okay to lose the fear. And Daniel's like, well, I'm afraid. Okay, I'm afraid. What do I do? I'm afraid. And he's just like, you need to focus. Like you need to focus. You need to get up. And then Mike Barnes is like, yeah, and I'm like, you're nothing. You're karate shit.
Yeah.
Like all these great lines, right?
That's the best part about it is Miyagi comes in and he's like, you need to focus. And then he like gets out and then it's just like the other guy comes in and just starts talking shit to him totally just tearing him down.
Yep, just tearing him down.
Exactly. I'm like, wait, do you guys each get a turn? Like, I think he needs the pep talk now again.
Right. So I'm watching this clip and he's just like, you're shit. You're the old man shit. Like you're karate shit. You're not gonna be anything. I own you. And I was watching this clip and it's been years since I've seen it. And for whatever reason, I'm watching this clip from like one of my favorite childhood movies. Mm-hmm. And I start to get like a little not weepy. That's a strong word. Mm-hmm. But I was just like, it reminded me of America. Like Daniel LaRusso, we're down on the mat. We've been beat up by this virus, the political dissent, like the media, like lying to us constantly, the world telling us we're shit, and America's it's weird. Like we're in this place where we're super afraid. America's really, really afraid right now, right? And I don't know who Mr. Miyagi is in this scenario. God, Jesus, somebody. Like, it's somebody.
I'm never gonna financially recover from this.
Yeah.
I think it's Tiger King.
Yeah, it's too exotic. Tiger King. Wouldn't it be great if they did a remake and Mr. Miyagi was played by Joe Exotic?
Yes.
Aren't you just gay a little bit? But and then Mike Barnes is like the rest of the world, the coronavirus, the people who hate America. It's just like you're shit. Your values are shit. Your religion is shit. Like you're shit. Like we own you. Like don't but in that movie he gets up. And America needs to get up and do a fucking kata. And have our opponents be very confused. Yeah. Hey, just do a kata and just confuse the globalist elite. And just like, what is he?
He's like,
get the point.
What's he doing?
Get the point.
This isn't going to work.
And then we'll flip the globalists down and we'll punch them in the armpit and win. That's.
I like it.
I want. But I was watching that clip and I probably watched it like 15 times. And I was just like, it just really resonated in a totally different way. And I was like, well, how much of that is me being afraid of the virus? And I was like, not that I'm afraid of the virus, like I'm afraid of the uncertainty.
Yeah.
Trump's like, I'm scared, okay?
Yeah.
And then Giuliani is like, you need to focus.
Yeah.
You need to focus.
I want to see if Hollywood's going to do remakes. They need to do remakes, but butcher them. Because they're dumb anyway, right? But they're cast Donald Trump as Daniel LaRusso.
Totally,
don't you want to see him in the Miyagi dojo gi?
Absolutely.
Throwing terrible kicks.
Just got a good gut on him.
Oh yeah, I seriously just
barbecue sauce on his face.
If you're gonna make dumb shit Hollywood, go all the way.
McRib rappers.
Miscast everything. I want to see ugly people in ingenue roles and ingenues doing ugly stuff. Just be. Not the culturally sensitive, we have to cast minority people, which, cool, I'm, whatever. That's cool. But, go crazy with it. Go really, really far.
Yeah.
Because I love that kind of humor, that, and don't ever acknowledge it. And I will watch all 120 minutes of that movie, and, I'll rewatch it and rewatch. You will get repeat money from me.
Oh, yeah.
If you make these films for me. Cast crazy, stupid people that don't belong in those roles. Put Nick Cage in the role of I don't know, a priest.
Or Maya Angelou.
I don't care.
I know why the cage bird sings.
Yeah. I just want to see actors do shit they have no business doing.
Stories from the penitentiary said that, little known fact, the armpit punch is the most dangerous punch known to man.
There's a lot of nerves there.
Yep.
There's a lot of nerves. I can see that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nerves there.
Axial, yeah. And generally, it's the weakest point of armor.
That's true, right?
Yeah.
The chainmail can't cover everything, otherwise you couldn't move.
Absolutely.
That makes sense.
Get your armpit hair stuck in there.
Stab in the...
Yeah. Get all those social justice warriors. They've got to show it.
Oh, man.
That's how you know they're legit.
Yeah.
Not taking care of themselves.
I'll be afraid of Antifa when they show up in chainmail. That's when I'll be really dude, they're serious now.
I'm sure some of them have.
Oh, yeah. They're just waiting to
it is LARPing.
Yeah,
so.
it's super LARPing.
Take a claymore out. Just an actual legit claymore. with this weak, pasty arms that can only swing it once or twice before they're just wiped for the day.
I saw this hilarious. There was guys at like a construction site, and obviously this guy was probably like 18, like just the young guy on the team. So they got him to hit a spray paint can with a. I'm guessing it was a spray paint can with a shovel.
Sledgehammer. Okay.
And it explodes, and he gets just blued like all one side. But they were talking about Braveheart. Never take our freedom. Anyways, it was just perfect because it just hit him on the one side.
Speaking of Braveheart,
so the chainmail reminded me of that.
In college, there was this thing called in the fraternity called pimping. Okay, so pimping is essentially people get drunk and you can draw on them right when they're passed out.
Yeah,
but there were rules to pimping.
Okay,
you couldn't if you were in your room with your shoes off and on a couch or on the bed, you were safe.
Okay,
if you were in your room with your shoes on, you were fair game.
Yep. Yep.
There's honor amongst men, or like men boy men. Men, boys, really. You don't have a frontal lobe. Who knows what college kids are? They call them college kids for a reason. So one night, like one of my fraternity brothers, everybody was drinking because it's fraternity, and he was in a room, and my other fraternity brother had this Magnum marker. I mean, it was just like this massive, and so our other fraternity brother's like, he's drunk and he's tired. And so my other fraternity brother's just trying to like run interference and keep him in the room because he knows if he sits down on the couch, he's going to pass out. Dude, we brave-hearted this kid. Like, I mean, to looking back, we probably could have given him like ink poisoning or something. I mean, we covered like
blue or black?
Whole black.
Oh, okay.
It did not wash off.
Wow.
Like it was there for like a week, and everybody, like a lot of people, like were they knew what we had done, and so we just let him like pass out in my room, and like when he woke up, we just all played it cool, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and we're just like, oh yeah, we should. Oh man, it was pretty rough. And he's like touching it's getting rubbed everywhere. And he walks by a mirror and he looks at himself and he just goes, cool. Yeah. He's just like very excited that we had but then he's like, you guys, I can't get this off my face. So it's just like,
just puts on a Raiders jersey.
Yeah, them's the rules. Like, this is what.
That's what I would have done. Lean into it.
Just lean.
Yep.
That's what we need to do for 2021. Just lean into it.
Yeah.
Like to the point where like look legit for some of my left leaning friends. I'm like, I'm just not going to tell you everything anymore, because I don't know what you're going to use against me one day to get in favor of the government. So.
John, we have a question.
Yeah.
Stories from the Penitentiary wants to know what happens if you have one shoe on and one shoe off.
Oh shit.
I think
they
that
play
would
with your
probably
butt.
go to that would the butt stuff happens.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think anyone. I would say, I don't know. You probably would have like a council of some sort and try to like rule. Like things were judicious in the fraternity. Like
that's right.
It was fair. It was fair.
Yeah.
There was another evening where one of my fraternity brothers in my particular pledge class was an alcoholic. Surprise. It's a fraternity, and he was out of beer money and he wanted beer really bad, and so one of my other fraternity brothers, who I actually just talked to recently, I'm reconnected with, we call him the devil's advocate. This guy could get anybody to drink, anybody to do something insane. He could just talk anybody into anything. He was a master. He's like, all right, so and so, what I'm going to do?
Even to vote for Biden?
I want you. He could probably do that.
Wow,
for real. And he's like, I'll let you have this beer if I can shoot you with a paintball gun. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, the details left out were like, I have frozen paintballs.
Ooh.
Jesus.
So we had convinced.
You didn't say he was a psychopath.
We had convinced this kid.
Jesus.
We had convinced this kid to like, essentially like go. He agreed to be shot in the back. Okay, and so he's in this chair at the end of the hallway, and so my friend was like, and so the whole house is watching it. It's like a house event. It's probably the most fun we've had, and the people are like, someone's just gonna get shot at 7 o'clock with paintballs. And most people know that it's frozen, right? Because they know this. The older guys in the house know, like, okay, he's got the frozen. This is gonna be sweet. And they're pumping up this other guy. It'll be easy. Don't worry about it. And so he convinced them to like shoot him like 3 or 4 times, like with this paintball gun. And so everybody's watching, like in the rooms along the halls and pointing down, and he's probably I would say probably like 20 feet away. Right, and again, he had a pretty legit paintball gun. It wasn't just like And so he shoots this kid, and it hits like the sweet spot where his shirt has like lifted up, like right in the tramp stamp, where the tramp stamp would be.
All right.
And you could hear it go. I can't unhear the sound. It was like this. And like this kid was like, oh, motherfucker, son of a bitch. And, like, but he had to go through. He had already agreed. And he agreed in front of all of his brothers. So the welts this kid had on his back were similar to the Braveheart incident. They were there legit for probably like 3 weeks. Like
Jesus.
But he got his kokanee. He got his kokanee beer. He did it for kokanee.
Well, I mean, I guess kokanee's a decent beer. Yeah, it's better than
and the evolution
Corona.
of beer. We're talking about the evolution of beer.
Yeah,
right.
It's Canadian, but
that would be like it's got like a slouch, and it can be mostly bipedal.
Mm-hmm.
It's not quite good beer, but it's better beer than the tadpole with legs.
It's on par with Beck's.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys ever had Milwaukee's Best? The Beast.
I mean, of course.
Beast. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Dude, that beer. That is probably my beer palate is like that is the worst beer, I think. Like that is probably the worst one.
I don't know. There's Natty Ice.
Does Steel Reserve
my grandpa
fall under?
loves Natty Ice, and it's almost like it's like a honor he bestows upon me when I go to his place.
I'd say all those beers are pretty much the same. I think Milwaukee's a little skunkier than the Natural Light or Natural Ice.
Milwaukee's Best is rough.
Yeah.
PBR.
PBR's in there.
Like some of those
PBR's
light beers,
easy.
like the hangovers on those beers are just brutal. Like when I lived in Chicago, like we would go to the Cubs game and you would get old style, like, and it was similar to PBR. Dude, and you're frying in the sun, like drinking this, and you know the Cubs, especially when I was living there, like the Cubs are always kind of bad, like minus 2016. But like, dude, you would be out there just cooking, and it's humid in Chicago too. So like the humidity and drinking in humidity, harsh lessons, sir.
Well, and you drink like 8 beers and you don't pee. Like you don't have to pee because you're dehydrated already.
Harsh lessons.
Yep.
Lessons learned hard.
That's when you know you're in trouble. Is when you're drinking all those beers and yet you don't pee. It's
It's the worst.
Oh yeah, because then that's like I would go, to shows or whatever, and everybody be drinking. It'd be like punk show or whatever. Everybody's drinking PBR, and you start drinking it, and you're a couple beers in. Once you pee, that's it. You're peeing for the rest of the night. You're in there every 10, 15 minutes. Yeah.
I'm a peer. I pee pretty much all the time.
So you gotta hydrate.
Just can't
It's good
stop.
for you.
Yeah, you should be
I'm
peeing. If you're
addicted
not,
to peeing.
oh, I just can't wait to break the seal all by
Yeah.
myself.
Yes, I'm exceptionally hydrated.
Yeah.
Most of the time. I feel bad when I'm not. So I try to stay hydrated.
We're coming up on the end. Do you guys want to hit anything else?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, John, do you have any projects you're working on?
Right now I kind of put down. I was doing an improv podcast. I kind of put that down for the time being. I'm still doing like an episode of Massage Maniac every couple weeks.
You can find that on Anchor.
You can find it everywhere.
Or okay.
Yeah, Massage Maniac, and like I kind of like free form. I do talk about massage, but I talk about like politics. I talk about just whatever's on my brain that day. Yeah.
I didn't assume you'd stick to the topic of
I can't like
massage.
the podcast like that you listen to that are massage podcasts like it's just like it just put me to sleep, dude. It's everything you expect. Like today we're gonna nope. And I always say like in my episodes, I'm like, dude, if you're looking for that podcast, you were in the wrong place.
Yeah.
I'm
Do
gonna
they
talk
have the
about
royalty?
aliens.
Do they have the royalty free like Zen music in the background?
Yeah,
Like
it's some of
the
them are pretty
woodwinds.
Some of them are pretty horrendous.
Yeah.
Like
The pan flutes.
well, and the industry ones and the association ones are like really hard to listen to too, and like they're good information, but again, like after 10 minutes, you're like, I'm all scienced out, dude. Enough.
Yeah.
Like so, I always throw in a little bit of stuff about like science or just things that I see in the profession and stuff, but like mostly it's me talking about aliens, like and just whatever weird shit pops into my brain.
Yeah, makes sense.
That's the only thing I'm working on right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody check that out. So Massage Maniac.
Yep, the
out there.
Massage Maniac podcast. Yeah.
So we've got on all of the audio podcast platforms. Check out the Sensible Sociopath podcast. We're also on BitChute. So if you want to see us on there, if you're not a YouTube supporter, let's say, or if we ever disappear off YouTube, for our controversial points of view, we'll still be up on BitChute for sure. You can check me out on Parler at SensockSteve. Or I think my podcast, let's see, what is my name right now? My name right now is Projected Podcaster Elect Sensible Sociopath. Steve.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great.
Office.
I was
of the-
wondering if you guys were gonna put yourself on Parlor. I was like, you probably should.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've
yep.
been there for a while.
Yeah, I've it's a lot of fun, you know. There's a lot of good definitely the right is so much better at memes than
Yeah.
the
It's
left is.
because they
It's
don't
so much
care
more
about hurting
fun.
somebody's feelings.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
And yeah, that's what you need for a cultural. You can't lie to yourself if you're trying to produce a cultural, you know, commentary like
You know,
a
it's
meme
like
is.
it's like if you were a battle rapper,
Mhm.
like you
And
want
I
your
am.
punchlines to be. Yeah, I bet you are.
Mhm.
Vicious in the cipher.
Yep.
You want it to be like devastating, have like a ooh factor. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like the left when they try to do it, it's like it's kind of like oh.
Yeah.
Like-
a clap applause or
Yeah,
clapter.
Whereas with the right will be like again like they'll have something and it's like dude that is you shouldn't say that, which again
Vicious.
produces the O factor.
Savage.
Yes.
Oh.
You know what else produces the O factor? The PlayStation 5 controller.
Yep.
I bet.
Put that right on your taint.
Well, you can find us on Instagram, the Sensible Sociopath Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Also, since you're here, please like us and subscribe and tell your friends.
Yes.
And if you hit the notification bell, then you'll know when we go live.
Absolutely. Steal your friends' phones and subscribe to us on their phones. And then they'll be like,
Absolutely.
what's this wonderful notification I just got
Yep.
about this
They
hilarious
will
show I
thank
had
you
no idea
later.
of. And yeah, you can support the show on Patreon at patreon.com/Sensible Sociopath Podcast. We'll be back next Friday. So
Have a good night, you guys.
see you soon.
Bye.
Best podcast in the world.
The world would not be the same.
I like it.
No wonder my anxiety's so high.
Few people laughed. Few people cried.
Oh, what's in the box?
Most people were silent.
And that was it.
Now I am become death,
Sounds like a bad time.
the destroyer of worlds.
Yeah, so this doesn't seem like a great idea to me.
I suppose we all thought that, one way or another.
You didn't tell me any of that. That's crazy.
Well, Rama, when you're a hero, you don't tell everyone until you're on your podcast.
I'm about to hear some shit.
We all need to laugh.
I think just sitting down and, listening to...
The Sensible Sociopath. This is the shit you're supposed to be watching.
Gen X is gonna love it. Millennials are gonna be like, I'm offended.
Also, my dog has a giant dick.
Oh my god, that's enormous.
I love it.
It's still a racist dog whistle.
Where you kind of have like a rotating cast of characters.
We're talking baby seals, eagles, wolves.
I'm just glad we're not going to have to eat with racism anymore.
It's worse than the butthole.
We're technically considered propaganda.
It is very contagious.
I think we really need to talk about environmentalism.
Like, are they studying pine cones?
Make yourself a nice stingray omelet. That's how Steve Irwin died. Cholesterol.
It's fucking delicious.
His father had ended up killing his mother and committing suicide.
In that order.
That's diabolical. I like it.
They had an apple gun where you could shoot Bigfoot.
Has she always been retarded?
I mean, she could have had a head injury.
You don't know anything about tartar sauce.
He had picked up a 400-pound statue and was like walking around with it.
Was the statue racist?
I'd like to think so.
It's like how they invented bacon and avocado to make a turkey sandwich tolerable.
I have a fear of fire.
Like a werewolf. Daniel, you've been our greatest viewer. Well, Daniel and Sarah and Katrina. Daniel!